Alrighty, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Serving Nerve, where we talk about whatever we want, and today we're going to be going through a What I Eat in a Day as a Fat Person compilation. Now, I do have to thank the individual who uploaded this compilation. They are known as Veggies. I don't think you can see their little name card. And the thing I have to appreciate is they counted the calories for all of these videos. So at the end of each little What I Eat in a Day, I'll just show the calories that they calculated. So, if you want to know where some of the fat compilations I get come from, it's just sometimes on YouTube that I'll find them, and then I'll just take some of them out of the compilation, and then I'll kind of put my own input. But this one is from Veggies, so if you want to support them, by all means, go and subscribe to them, because they did the calorie math on this, not me. Anyways, let's just get into the show and see where we go with this. And I'm really curious. The one thing I have to point out is this is one day of eating for an individual. So obviously, there's going to be some variability here, and it's not to say that this is what they eat every day, but it is a snapshot of one day of their lives. So I just want to point that out because, it's easy to make a judgment on somebody's entire, lifestyle by seeing one day of eating. And we all have one day of eating where maybe we're not eating optimally, but it's to get a general idea of what some of these people's diets might be like. And again, it is what it is. I'm not here to be a saint. My diet could certainly be better. So this isn't really to chastise people for what they're eating. It's to kind of get an idea of what they're eating. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense, and let's just get into the show. So I don't know if this looks good, but I'm just going to try and capture what Veggies is writing here with the calorie count and all that stuff. The notes are going to be right over here. That they're making, and then all the What I Eat in a Day stuff is going to be, I can't even figure out where to point, right over here, and then I'm going to be in the middle because, I can't help myself but be in the center of attention. Anyways, let's just get into this, but I'm not sure if it's going to look good, so I might have to modify it later.
What I eat in a day is a 260-pound fat woman. First I had Pepsi with a sausage breakfast sandwich, then some Sierra Mist with a crunch wrap with refried beans, so good, and some Kool-Aid and some sweet and sour chicken with rice. Then towards the end of the day, I did binge a little bit.
So they're kind of claiming I couldn't find the exact ice cream and all this stuff and whatever for the calories and all that. And that's fine. This is a general estimate and whatnot. We don't exactly know what this person's eating calorically. But the point I'm trying to make here is, they are admitting that they do have some issues with binging. So I think they're kind of trying to do this thing where they expose themselves to all the foods that they're craving and wanting to eat. And then they're trying not to just binge on them. One thing that might be kind of useful is if they do include more fruits and vegetables in their diet. If you can produce in your gut propionate through eating a lot of vegetables and stuff like that, you can actually decrease hunger and whatnot quite exponentially. One thing you want to be doing in your diet is getting enough fiber. It will help kind of keep your body physically satisfied if you're eating a lot of fiber, protein, etc. If you find that you're getting these urges to eat a lot, sometimes you do have a nutritional deficiency. And although this is one day in a person's life, if this is what they're consistently eating, they might struggle with things like an overall desire to eat excessively because they're not satisfied. They can't help themselves. They feel like they need to eat more. They feel like they're missing something, or it could be purely psychological. I do have my sympathies because I and a bunch of other people have struggled with binge eating before, and binge eating really is a very disappointing, shameful, and anxiety-producing circumstance. And if you've dealt with it before, it's very difficult to change the way you're thinking in the moment, or stop it when it happens, or prevent it in general. It's a very difficult issue, and I think a lot of people who are obese, and not even obese, but in general have this. But a lot of obese people do struggle with binge eating, and I have my sympathies. I just think that there are little things you can do to help alleviate it. When I was struggling with it, I found that including more fruits and vegetables in my diet did help.
But that's okay because tomorrow is a completely new day.
Yeah, so, with binge eating, you can eat a lot of calories, but in general, their diet was pretty calorically dense, so it makes sense. And this is something that's very true. Tomorrow is a new day, and you should always try and operate as if tomorrow's a new day, but in the moment as well, you want to try and refocus yourself and not let the binging and the excessive eating go on for longer and longer and longer and then say screw it and like tomorrow will be the next day that you actually try. You can stop in the moment whenever you want to stop. You just need to really push yourself to stop. It's one of the hardest things you can do, but I just have to preface, when you struggle with things like binge eating, you shouldn't go like, oh, I already binged today, I have to throw the whole thing by the wayside and start fresh tomorrow. Try after the binge to like change your mindset in the moment and go like, no more binging for this time frame. I'm going to try my best not to binge again today. I'm going to try and eat a healthy, dinner or whenever you binged, or just like relax and go for a walk or lie down or do whatever you can to kind of alleviate the pressure. Maybe spend time with somebody who can keep you good company. But, when it comes to binging, it's an incredibly difficult thing to deal with. So I have my sympathies in this regard. I just think that it's so easy to get into this mindset where you, after a binge, don't stop eating until the next day. And then you feel terrible about yourself. And then you try and restrict yourself. And then it gets even worse. So that is a very big deal. If you're consuming consistently hyper-processed food and also getting in like an average of like maybe 5, 6, 7,000 calories a day, that's really like not helpful for your mental or physical health. So I don't know, man. I know this person probably already knows this. Like when you deal with binge eating, you already know that one, you have a really negative connotation with it mentally, but in general, it's also not good for you and it doesn't make you feel good. So I have my sympathies. I gotta point out, it sucks. It really does suck. Binge eating blows bubbles. They might have eaten like one of those sets of things, not both, because it looks like they're dining with somebody. And even Veggies points this out. So damn, dude, actually I really like the writing down of everything. It's pretty effective. I can actually appreciate this. There's a lot of effort that goes into trying to find the caloric density of things, and you usually have to go on to like Chronometer and all these nutrition facts websites and then pick everything out and like put it all together and then do the math for it. And I'm not gonna lie, it's Wednesday. I'm not working right now. I don't want to do math. So I have to point out again, it's like a lot of these diets so far that I'm seeing are really lacking in fruits and vegetables and like healthy food in general. And, this is not to beat down on these people by saying this, but there is a balance here that you have to find. And personally, the best way to find a balanced, healthy diet is to do more introductory work with like having more fruits and vegetables, exposing yourself to more, healthy options, and just trying to kind of break the bubble out of what you're typically doing pattern-wise and then build into a healthier diet. Because once you start eating healthier food, you do also acquire a taste for it. You start craving it more often. Like if I go for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks without having any like fruits or vegetables, I'll initially want them. But like hypothetically, if I'm eating a lot of junk food and I'm not eating anything healthy, I am going to want the junk food. It's the only thing that my body currently recognizes as nutrition, and it's not very good nutrition. So one thing you can do is just introduce throughout your daily diet more fruits and vegetables, more healthy foods, and then also have some of the junk food in your diet, and then slowly you can build into a healthier diet. You don't have to go 0 to 100, and I feel like maybe that's the perception of some of these people. So I just think that there's a better way of doing this. I think you can actually put in a little bit more effort to just introduce more healthy food and then kind of break out of it a little bit more easily, especially if you are struggling with things like binging, emotional eating, being overweight, etc. Damn. See, that's insane to me because I think about this and I'm like, I eat a lot of calories, dudes. Like, I eat a lot of food. I drink a lot of calories. I eat a lot of calories. I'm probably getting like 3,000 calories easy a day unless I like crash before I eat. But when it comes to this kind of thing, sometimes I look at this food and I'm like, it's kind of insane because I know I could probably put this stuff down, but the amount of consumption is in such an excess that it must be very difficult to kind of break from that and push yourself in a different direction because you're so used to having such calorically dense, hyper palatable, hyper processed food. I know they got the calories here, but the amount of salt, the sugar, the fat, all of the things that make it incredibly delicious to eat are really what people go for. And there's quite an excess of it, so it's incredibly difficult to like break out of that bubble and like change your entire diet. It's beyond the scope of just a normal dietary change, which is why I think little steps could be very helpful here. So this is the thing again, it's like they've got an excessive amount of calories and they also have very few, if not any, fruits or vegetables. You know, again, like there are little things you can do in your diet to just bring that calorie count down. And I get that it's not always about calories, but if you find you're eating excessive amounts of junk food all the time or hyper-processed food, adding in some calorically dilute contents to your diet, making your plate maybe half fast food and half fruits and vegetables will make this calorie count right here go down insanely. It's actually impressive how you can tweak your diet just a little bit and just introduce things here and there to really change the name of the game. And I really hope these people are not consistently eating this way. It's pretty bad. Like, if you looked at the nutritional composition, sure, we're seeing calories here, but at the same time, if you look at all of the nutrients that are missing from these people's diets, it's so indicative that they're going to be nutritionally deficient whilst also getting an excessive amount of calories. And also, when your bodies aren't getting the right kinds of nutrition, they tend to crave even more and more food in spite of any caloric intake. So you're not going to feel very great, but you're also not going to be very satisfied with what you're eating. And that's why I also think that a lot of people are just eating such excessive amounts of food. They're just not satisfied with their diets whatsoever. See, this is the thing. It's like you've got a little bit of healthy food. Sushi, in my opinion, is kind of healthy. Like, you can argue it, but I think it's a pretty healthy thing, especially compared to some of the other foods. And then I love how I'm like, oh, it's so healthy. And then all of a sudden there's a fried plate of deliciousness beside it as well. How hilarious. I'm so sorry that I'm laughing at it, but it's just so funny because I'm like, oh, that's not that bad. And then suddenly there's something worse. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a jerk and judge all these people for their food choices, you know? And I'm trying to say like little steps here and there. But there are just some things where it's like, you have this and then you have this. Instead of having half a pizza, you eat a whole pizza. Instead of having a plate of sushi, you're having 2 plates of food and one's completely fried. You know, you go to Starbucks and you get a large drink instead of a small. There are just all these little things you can do to tweak your diet. And it makes sense if some of these people are struggling with their weights when they have such an excess of processed food. Because again, I haven't seen, outside of that plate of sushi, in this entire compilation, any kind of greenery or a less processed sort. And I think that's something that really can help people, you know? It doesn't really take that much craziness. It just takes a little here and there to tweak your way to, like, victory when it comes to this kind of thing. So, I don't know, man. I gotta admit, too, like, some of the food looks pretty tasty, you know? But, like, is it worth your health? That's an important question. Ask this. Is seaweed salad actually seaweed? Or is it something weird and coagulated? Because I love it, okay? I love it. I love the flavor of the acidity, the sesame oil, the crunchiness, the gooiness, the sliminess. I love it, okay? I love when I got that weed of the sea in my mouth, okay? But I wonder what it's made of, because sometimes it looks so unnatural. I wonder if they use like a coloring in it or something, or if it just is supposed to look like that, or if it's like a natural, like, just color of the seaweed or something. But I freaking love seaweed salad, and it just doesn't look real. It's trippy. It's like cartoon colored food. So I'm really wondering how they make it. I'm still gonna eat it, but I'm just saying, I'm really curious as to its overall composition. Like, look at that. Is that real? I have to ask, is this real? It better be, because I love it. But It makes me question reality. Like, if this were the Matrix, it would be Seaweed Salad. Okay, that's a queen move right there. I gotta point this out. A lot of people don't think to put the deliciousness on top of more deliciousness, but it makes it even more delicious. Again, it's just like, it's a ton of calories and you can slash it by just doing some healthier stuff, bruh. Like, I'm sorry that I'm going off, but it's like, I don't really look at like what people eat in a day a lot of the time. And when I see it, I'm like, wow, like, I didn't know I was so healthy. I eat a lot of food, but usually it's a lot healthier than this. So it kind of makes sense, I guess. Because a lot of the time, again, like, I talk to my friends sometimes. I'll be like, yeah, I don't understand. Like, I eat a lot of food, but I'm not, like, obese. So I don't understand what it takes for people to become obese. And then I see what they're eating, and I'm like, it does make sense. A lot of people are just eating the wrong kinds of foods and too much of them. And it does kind of put you way over that calorie limit. But even if you're not looking at calories, the nutritional composition of this food is suboptimal at best, and it's not going to satisfy you long term. So, I don't know, man. And to be fair, a lot of these people do preface that they don't care about weight loss. They're more just trying to live their lives and do their thing. The other thing I have to point out, though, is if you're going to do that, expect judgment if you're putting it online. If you're creating this content, people will judge you for it. You know, they see somebody who is overweight, eating excessive amounts of hyper-processed foods, and that can perpetuate people to have a certain perception of you and make judgments based on the things that you do. And I don't know if people understand that, or if they really struggle with understanding that, and maybe that's why there's so much like, oh, you're judging me for my food choices isms. Because when I go on these fat acceptance compilations, I see a lot of people going like, you judge me for my food choices, I shouldn't be judged for them, it's my right to eat this way, other people can eat this way. But then when you see these people acting the way they do online and eating all this junk food and stuff, and that's not supposed to be a judgment on this particular individual, but it's just to make a point. When you see people eating this way online and there are people commenting, I think it makes complete sense and they have every right to judge you for your food choices, especially if you're putting everything online and it's an excessive amount of calories and food and you're going through the motions of eating like this quite consistently, like if people consistently post these videos. So personally, I think it makes sense, and I think judging people for their food choices is completely normal if this is the kind of content they're producing. I saw that watermelon, alright? Good for you for the watermelon, bruh. And again, like, this person isn't even eating that crazily. Like, I feel like I would do that in a day. I'd probably want more fruits and vegetables in my diet, but I feel like I would eat that same amount of stuff in a day. It's not just one day that matters. It's the overall accumulation of your days and weeks and months that's going to make you obese, along with not being particularly physically active and eating a nutritionally inadequate diet. So I'm not going to go off and like go through every single video. I will link Veggie's entire compilation down below if you would like to actually check it out. I think the overall assessment of nutrition in these videos is pretty accurate. I mean, we don't know exactly what these people are eating, but these are caloric estimates. So generally speaking, like, they're still eating in excessive calories. And this gives an important level of perspective when I see somebody online and they're saying, you're judging me for my food choices, you know, I have every right to eat this way. You do, but the judgment exists for a reason, especially if there's all these like what I eat in a day videos that you make and they're very hyper processed with a lack of nutrition in them. And this isn't to beat down on anybody for their food choices. At the end of the day, you can do what you want, but the reality is, this is why people are making judgments of you. And I hope that these individuals who are doing these What I Eat in a Day compilations understand and accept that matter, because at the end of the day, people will judge you if this is the kind of content that you produce. So that's just my opinion, but I hope that these individuals like do have days where they're eating a lot better, they're eating more nutritious food, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, legumes, lean proteins, a lower level of processed food, because it won't just make you lose weight. You know, it'll actually just make you feel better. It'll make you feel physically better, and it'll also decrease your likelihood of nutritional deficiencies and inadequacies in your diet. So I really hope people take this as like a positive thing and not just like an exclusive judgment of what people are eating, because I get it's hard when people are struggling with things like binge eating and other, disordered eating patterns, and then somebody's telling them you have to do this, this, and this. But I think that personally, this is a really unhealthy diet. These patterns of consumption are excessive and overly processed, and I think a little bit of positive change in a more healthy department, like eating more fruits and vegetables, will help these people dramatically. Tell me what you guys think, and hey, if you want, list off what you eat in the comments below in a typical day. I actually was thinking of throwing up like a healthy what I eat in a day video from my perspective, but I was kind of like, I'm not sure if people would like that, but tell me if you want that, and yeah. That was the video, my people. I hope you all enjoyed, and yeah. So that was it. It has been lovely. Slater.